A word of warning before you watch this video. This is only my opinion. I don't have much solid fact to present in this video. Although my claims are based upon fact, they are only my opinion. So don't go all trolling on me and say, "Oh, but I don't think you're right. I think you're sick for wanting prostitution to be legalized, blah blah blah." Chill. It's just my opinion. So I hope you enjoy this video, and may the truth always be heard. Hey guys, so okay, it's not the most original topic I can think of, but I'll try my best. I know there have been plenty of videos made about it, and I can link to two of my favorites in the sidebar below. But I wanted to talk about my view of these arguments that are commonly posted against the sex trade. Number 1. Legalizing prostitution would increase the spread of STDs. Not if it's severely regulated, it won't. There are several examples where the sex industry is severely regulated. The one off the top of my head would be in Amsterdam, and from what I've seen, Nevada also has very strict laws regarding the sex trade. There's no compelling evidence to prove that legalizing prostitution would increase the rate of STDs, so that argument is completely debunked. Number 2. Legalizing prostitution is degrading to women. So I hear this argument a lot with feminists especially, who find this an insulting way for men to degrade women as tools for their pleasure. And that's a gross and over-exaggerated point that's stretched so far it's almost a lie. Actually, it is a lie, because in no way are we forcing prostitutes to give us their services. We're not forcing them to. They agree to. So that's the woman's choice. So in this sense, yes, we are giving them a choice in the matter. If you are for the illegalization of prostitution and yet you support women's rights, well, aren't you contradicting yourself then? Because you're saying these women should not have the right to do what they want with their body? Number 3. Prostitution is only an option for the impoverished. So this is most common with religious folk, I find. I've talked to a number of religious people on this topic, and Christians especially strongly advocate against the legalization of prostitution. And a point they always try to make me see is, "Oh, well, would you want your daughter to be a hooker? Would you want your daughter to be a slut and sell her body like that?" And my honest answer to that question would be no. I wouldn't want, if I had a daughter in the future, I wouldn't want my daughter to go into the sex industry. But that's only my opinion, and that doesn't affect whether or not I can support the sex industry from the sidelines. And it certainly does not mean that I should have any right to tell others how to feel about this, just because I personally do not want any family member of mine to go into the sex industry doesn't mean that everyone else should feel the same way. Christians. And that argument isn't necessarily true either, because I have known people who at least showed an interest in going into the sex industry. I won't disclose their names, but yeah, I have known some people. So it's not completely a far stretch of the imagination to say, well, there are people that are interested in going into the sex industry. Besides, the average sex worker does make more than the minimum wage. So imagine this. You're starving on the streets and you had a choice of a bunch of minimum wage jobs that you aren't good at, or being a sex worker where you can earn more than minimum wage. And let's say you had particular skill in the sex industry. Well, sure, it might not be a job that you like, or it might not be a job that you are good at, but if it's a job nonetheless, and I don't mean to say this in a cruel way, but beggars can't be choosers. And finally, reason number 4. Legalizing prostitution would increase the amount of pimps and human trafficking. Now, this might be my weakest point, since I don't have any concrete evidence to support this, but here's what I believe. I believe that the problem with human trafficking and the problem with pimps and whorehouses, the problem with all these illegal forms of sex is A, because they're illegal, and B, because of lack of regulation. So the first step in solving this problem is, yes, first we legalize prostitution. Second step would be to add the regulation, which can be things like make all the sex workers undergo a routine health check for STDs. Condom use has to be enforced. Security can monitor activity. Stuff like that. We can do things like that that can make the sex trade not only safe, but profitable. So if society benefits from having an added source of revenue, the impoverished benefit from having a job, and the consumers benefit, then that's a win-win-win situation. What else is there to talk about? Therefore, I believe legalization of prostitution should happen immediately, or as soon as possible, at least. Thanks for watching, and may the truth always be heard.